Welcome to episode 12 of PonderCast. Woo-hoo. We're here today with Shannon of Allergen. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Dude, I'm doing good. This is the first episode I've recorded in the new year. And it is February.
It is February today. I paid rent.
Dude. Yeah.
Paid rent. It automatically discharged from my account. Last month, my landlord charged us a $100 late fee because we were 32 cents short on rent.
What?
Yeah. They took it away
Dude,
because we bullied them. They took it away, but
good.
Fuck landlords.
Dude, on God. Coming into 2024, the hot media statement. Fuck landlords. This isn't monetized. We can say anything.
Okay, I was
Fuck
like, shoot. I didn't realize I swore, and I don't know what
it's all good.
Okay.
For the phantom viewer, the concept of a viewer, you have been on this podcast before. I should have said welcome back.
Thank
you. You were in episode 7, which you can maybe see on the green screen. Here's to hoping.
Maybe. Otherwise, this will be silly. Either way, it'll be okay, though.
Honestly, I made that like days ago and only tested it once. So
I'm sure it'll be great.
We're just going to see how it goes. But last time you were here, we were talking with all of Bugsy. But you are also the lead of another musical project. Y'all just did a little weekend tour. Would you mind just kind of giving the gist of Allergen?
That's a good question. Allergen is like the music that I write it. I write the songs. And it's just like, I find that a lot of the times when I write songs, it comes in like phases, but it's like me like processing something. So I feel like it's like, what does allergen mean to you? It's just like, it's my way of like processing events in my life.
Can mean anything.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, it's just like, I had referred to us as indie rock, but I was told recently that was incorrect. So we are now, I guess I should be referring to us as alt rock.
Oh.
But just like kind of mathy. I want to be able to like scream healthily so I can scream and do like that, because I think that'd be cool.
What would you say the delineation is between indie rock and alt rock?
I was told recently that Allergen is too hard, in quotes, for indie rock, which is like, I was like, okay, like I don't really know what that means, because it's also like, I thought indie meant like not mainstream. Like I didn't think indie, like that's what I thought indie meant. But I guess that's not true fully. People view it as like softer rock music.
Like stomp clap shit.
Yeah. Boom, boom.
Lumineers type beat.
Yeah, but also like, again, like Bugsy refers to ourselves as indie rock. So it's like, so it's like.
Bugsy's pretty fucking heavy.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was saying. I was like, well, if and like, so I don't know. I like alt rock. It's all kind of like weird and hard to explain anyway, because there's so many like limited terms for like music descriptions. But it's loud and fast and sad, and that's how I would describe Allergen.
Real sad car.
Really sad.
So y'all, I did not notice until this morning when I started taking notes that you were dropping on the first of the month every month at the beginning of 2020, which is a wild time to be debuting music. And not that is your fault at all.
Yeah.
But so it's also funny that we're recording on the first of the month.
Yeah.
But yeah, March, April, and then May, y'all did your first 2 singles and then your first EP. Going back to like the early days, immediately pre-lockdowns and all that. Starting a new, when did the project start before y'all started releasing stuff? And what was that experience kind of like forming something alongside another band that you were in?
That's a good question. So I think I started like writing songs and like releasing them under the name Allergen in like 2019, like the spring of 2019. And then I had some friends of mine, Ev Spears, who from Ev, and I also played in their band for a while. They play guitar, and then my friend James played bass, and then Anna, and Anna played the drums and still plays the drums. And yeah, we just like started jamming, and like initially it was just like me and Ev, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think Ev is like one of the best guitarists I've ever known. Shout out Ev. And so in terms of like, I just like working together, we just like started like jamming and doing stuff together. And then I brought James in on bass because they had mentioned wanting to be in a band, and Anna and I had played together in high school. And then we just all kind of jammed, and it was like a pretty casual thing for a long time, but we wrote essentially the first song we released, which is like a really it's really hard not to, it's something that is cringy, but I also need to look back fondly on, because it's like I can't, but it is like I can listen to it and I'm like, I did write this.
I was like 19 for sure.
I was 17 or 18 I think when I wrote that song. Shit. So it's like I was little in terms of like my songwriting as an adult. However, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Oh, so on that song, Ev actually played the drums, and then I played bass and guitar. And then we recorded the EP with like the initial lineup of me, James, Ev, and Anna, and we recorded them at Minnehaha Recording with Claire Altenthal, who's in Boyish.
Word, okay.
The guitarist of Boyish, because they're from here. Shout out Boyish, shout out Claire. And yeah, they had just kind of they were kind of still getting like more involved, like more immersed in like recording and production, and we recorded the EP, and then I had a plan to do like the release, like you were saying, on the 1st of every month, and then like 2 weeks after I released the first Allergen song was March 13th, 2020.
March 13th, 2020.
Happy birthday, Al.
Happy birthday, Al.
Happy
it's
birthday,
be the
Al
last
Norman.
fun day for a while.
But then, so then it was going to be, then we had a release in April, and then we had a thing in May. We had the EP in May, released the EP in May. The initial plan was to do a weekend run.
Word.
Back then, like a little, like it was like, I think we were playing Minneapolis, Madison, Milwaukee, and Chicago, like something like Midwest, very quick Midwest run. And it was like, and the release show was gonna be Keep for Cheap, Dad Bod, and oh no, I know.
I mean, that's a lineup already.
The old project of Chris Peterson.
Word.
If you know them, I
do not.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry, Chris Peterson.
But the old project of Chris Peterson's.
Word.
Yeah, and then we ended up doing like a digi gig, one of the early digi gigs, and I played a set by myself in my 1-bedroom apartment that I lived in with my partner at the time.
On what platform did you do that?
On YouTube.
Dude, sick.
Yeah, we
Shout
streamed
it on
YouTube.
Like and subscribe.
I think it's still like it's like on like the Allergen Gmail, like on the Allergen like YouTube thing, because it's all through Google.
Yeah.
Like it's still there. Like I can go back and look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like essentially just Chris performed, and then Callie and Wilson performed, and then Kate and Autumn performed.
Dude, hell yeah.
So we were still able to do something, which was cool, and like, but it was, and I think like 8 people watched it, but that's awesome.
Dude, that's fun.
That was great.
Small-time media is cool.
Small-time media is cool.
A niche crowd.
It's so true.
But dude, hell yeah.
But yeah, and then I don't know what I was going to say after that. I think that was the end of the question. That was a long answer to it. I guess, sorry.
Dude, that's all good. No,
okay.
That's what the podcast is for.
True.
I love this shit.
All right.
In the Bugsy episode, we spent like 6 minutes talking about like bees and shit before we talked about the band at all.
Yeah, no.
That was like a key. This is so fun. I like doing this project when I was editing that back and just being like, oh, it did take us a sec.
Yeah.
Because Al had mentioned like we didn't even talk about music for the first couple minutes, and I was like, no.
Why would you?
There's no way.
No.
That's not
There's
true.
so many other things to talk about besides
not.
music. Music's one thing.
Like bees.
Bees.
Bugs.
Bugs, chickens, birds.
Ooh.
I love a bird.
Ooh, I feel like I just made a little loon noise
Bird
on
sweater.
accident. Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
This podcast supports
birds.
Big fans over here. Fast forwarding a little bit to about 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Midwest runs, you just did shows in Chicago, Milwaukee, and Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
How was that, and what's the experience been like now that the band has been established for a couple of years, and like you've done large tours? Like, what's a 3-day run feel like at this point in your career?
I think like I felt really good about it. I think especially like I think all the shows were like surprisingly like well attended, and like that's like the first time like I've like that's like the only other time I'd like booked things like independently by myself for like more than one show.
Yeah.
And I think like having the knowledge that I do now that I did not have like even like 4 years ago, like as a person, let alone like as a musician, I think like I was able to much better like handle things as they came up. But also like that being said, like nothing really happened that would have been like super stressful. It was just more like things that I wouldn't have previously considered. I've now been able to be like, oh yeah, like that is something I probably would need. The biggest like nothing like was super stressful, and like all the shows were really fun, and like the people were really nice. Like we met some really cool bands.
Hell yeah.
That I really want to stay in touch with, especially in Milwaukee. We played at Washroom, which is also like booked out now entirely. Like I like snuck us in there like perfectly because they're like booked through when they close, which is crazy. But also like going on like a longer tour as like a support slot, and also about to be going on another one.
Yeah. Part 2. West Coast edition.
Coast. I've never really been to the West Coast. I'm really excited about that too. But it's just like I don't know. I think I take on like a different role, and I think I'm less stressed out than I previously would be because I've had those past experiences not being the person in charge. And that also speaks to like Emily in Bugsy, who like has all of their ducks in a row all the time. They're super organized. As like kind of seeing how they do it, and also just navigating like being like a support slot in a support slot with someone who's like still has a lot of things to commit to and still has a lot to do, but very not in terms of like logistical stuff, if that makes sense. Like as long as I show up and I perform, like great. Like that's all I need to do. And like there's work that goes into that, but at the end of the day, like any other additional work is like something that is not like necessarily required of me in the same way as if me doing something like, okay, I have to like coordinate all the information, make sure we have all the gear, like doing all these things that are like more specific, administrative,
the like job part of
being not the not fun part. And just like making sure that like we like count all the money stuff and like do all that stuff. I think just like I had more like confidence in my ability to like do it like not only correctly but like efficiently. I also, I don't know. I just think like some of those things just made it a little more like I was able to go in with like a more planned head than just like, I don't know what I'm doing. We're just going to go and hope for the best. Yeah.
You have that background now in touring to be like, all right.
Yeah.
Like I got this.
Yeah. And that being said, like Anna had never been to Chicago before, like let alone like gone like a little like run or anything like this before. And Mia had gone on like a similar length one before. So it's like, it was like, I was also just like excited to like kind of show this and be like, this is gonna be really fun, you guys. Yeah. And it also makes me feel confident that we're gonna be able to do it again.
Dude, hell
that's the goal.
May I ask, are y'all working on stuff at the moment?
Yes, we're recording an album. We're recording a 12-song album right now.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and we have 4 songs done. We We have 8 more to go. We are not recording again until May.
Word. Okay.
Because of like just like timeline stuff.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Navigating a lot of people's schedules.
Yeah. Navigating like 5 very busy people's schedules. Yeah. Anita Velveeta's producing it.
Oh shit. Yo.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah. So
that's crazy.
So it's me, essentially like me, Abe, Anderson, and Anita are all kind of like co-producing it.
Dude.
And then
that's a little power trio.
I know,
right there.
I'm stoked.
That's nuts.
I'm stoked. And we're gonna like, I also like I talked to my dad and he got me like a bunch of like VHS tapes from when I was like really young, and I'm gonna sample those in it.
Dude, what? That's crazy.
Yeah, so I'm super stoked about it. It's gonna be like a long-term project for sure. And I'm worried. I'm still kind of nervous that I'm in over my head about it a little bit, but
you got time.
I got time.
And like it's your project.
It's my project. I know what I'm doing, and I have a very specific vision.
Hell
And I when I want to do something, I have all these like very like specific little things, and I'm like, this would be really cool to do this and this and this. But like thinking about it big picture, it's like, okay, how do we get all those things to happen?
That's
where I struggle, because I'm like I go on these like I don't know how I know I'm going like this, but it's like imagine it's like, you know that thing, it's like a road verges 2 ways or whatever.
Yes.
It's like 7 ways, and it's like I do this and this and this, and it's like all these branches of like very niche specific ideas.
Yeah.
But it's like okay,
is the creative curse.
But here we go, Shannon. We don't have a drum part yet.
Okay, yeah.
We have to do that first before you can think about what specific sound you want to add to the second chorus of a song. You know what I mean?
That could inform the drum part, though.
True.
It all.
Yeah. Exactly.
You works get it. Together.
You get it.
What time? Can you see the?
What time?
The viewfinder.
18:08.
Okay, word.
Sorry, I'm also chatty. So if you're like, we need to keep going.
Oh no, that is all good. I have a question kind of on that topic, but I want to wait until after we start the second video. Until then, there was one thing you mentioned in the Bugsy episode that you only kind of jumped in with, and as a group we did not dive in on. But I personally wanted to jump in and be like, hold on, what? You said you were a horse camp counselor.
Oh yes.
What? As a little bit of an intermission in the music talk, what's that about?
So I worked at Camp Christmas Tree, and it's a YMCA day camp.
Dude, no shit. What?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I worked there. I went there as a camper, and then I was a junior counselor, and then I left, and then someone I know like said that they needed counselors for like 2 weeks, and they were paying like a lot. It was like $800 a week.
At a Y camp?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
They were so desperate for staff. It was like $800. I worked at an
overnight camp, so we got room and boarded. We weren't making that.
No, I mean like like initially like camp counselors, I think they're made like not like less than that. Like we were making more. It was just maybe it was less than that too. Like I don't remember exactly, but it was like I needed the money, and like I was like sure. And I was in high school.
Did you like horses before this?
I wouldn't say I disliked horses.
Word.
I had also gone to like a horse therapist. Once. Horse therapy, where like, and it's like a very real thing. Like no, I only went like 3 times, but so I don't think I did it long enough to like really stand it out. But like horse therapy is real, and like is a way that like people like can like get over things, like over it, which is really it's really cool.
Create a bond.
Yeah, create a bond with
like a healthy bond
with a distrusting animal.
Yeah,
like with a big distrusting animal.
Massive horses are big
horses
as fuck.
Are
no one ever talks about how big a horse actually is.
Horses are very scary.
I'm not gonna lie, I was scared as a kid. It took until being like an employee in my like late teens, early 20s to be like, hold on, this guy's cool as fuck.
No, there are pictures of me.
These are sweet.
There are pictures of me like with the horses on Facebook.
Dude,
if I find one, we can put it.
Yo, here. Huge.
But no, I don't know. I just had agreed to do literally anything. Like I was just like there, and they made me be like, they had like colts,
word,
buckaroos, and then like a third one. But I was a colts counselor, and they also had like a camp for like little kids that had the horses, but they didn't ride. They just like were like they didn't ride the horses in the same way. But I honestly like did very little in terms of like horse care, horse maintenance. I was just like the counselor.
Okay.
But then kind of like when the campers. Yeah, I was like, I'm also a teacher now, so it's like, oops,
Yeah.
students, campers. The campers, like they had like wranglers there and like people that like knew what they were doing and like would make sure that like the horses weren't agitated and like also knew which horses were more agitated and which horses were like a little more calm, to like pair up and like they would do like a riding test to see how well a student could like ride a camper could ride a horse.
They're all interchangeable.
True.
Yeah.
Thank you. But yeah, no, I did it for like not very long, but like I would say like a few weeks for like 3 summers.
Dude, damn.
Yeah.
Do you still have any like inkling to connect with the horses or like
No.
get back in the saddle?
Not necessarily. I think I was
Word.
just doing it for the coin.
That's
But
super fair.
It wasn't like I was like a dolphin girl. I wasn't like I was like
Word.
borderline horse girl, but I was like more of like a dolphin kid or like a dog and cat kid than like a horse kid. But that being said, like I have nothing against horses. I'm kind of scared of them. I think they're really big and I think they're so buff. Like their muscles,
they're jacked.
they're jacked. Every horse is jacked.
Like this, I don't
Like
know.
this
they're,
and like
they're
their
not
side,
built like
like
humans.
their stomach, like you can like
Yeah.
see the curves and like they're
Yeah.
it's crazy. It stresses me out.
It's like the greyhound effect, but like if greyhounds were as big as pit bulls and also taller than you, just like standing, and they got crazy teeth.
They got crazy teeth.
got-
I've been bit by a horse.
You've
Have
been bit by a horse?
It hurts.
Fuck no. Oh my
It hurts.
God.
Yeah.
Like how hard?
I mean, it was like
Like
I
a
mean,
play bite or like
I mean,
agitated?
I got bit very lightly by an agitated horse.
Dang.
Like my hand got bit,
Sheesh.
but I was okay. But it hurts.
Well, shit, I'm glad you made it out of that.
Yeah,
All right.
thank you. They have big teeth.
Little apple choppers.
I know. I do think horses. I think people don't respect horses enough.
Yeah.
I
That's so fair.
think people think horses are like, oh, it's a horse, but it's like, no, it's a fucking horse. Like,
Yeah.
like
They're not just for like weird girls.
they're
Like,
not just for like weird girls or shout. You know, I respect horse girls. Maybe
Yeah.
that's a controversial take. I respect horse girls.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you found a passion.
Yeah. And it's
And
I
I'm
think
sorry-
it's a bold thing to commit to at like a young age. Be like, I'm gonna be
A horse
on
girl.
The horses.
Yeah, and like
Someday I'm gonna own a horse. Like
horse girl jokes
that's a commitment.
are a little funny,
They're pretty funny.
but horse girls as entities should be nothing short of respected.
Horse campers are a force to be reckoned with. As
True.
well. Like
Yeah.
not even like behavior in the sense of like they would get sent home type beat. Like I don't know, some kids get sent home from camp for all sorts of shit, but like just the gall they have
Yeah.
is like
Well,
wild.
Well, it's also
Just
like
talk crazy.
Well, it's also like the thing about being a horse camp counselor also is because like when I went to camp, I went to like the day camp, but then
Word.
like the specialty camps are like the horse camps at Camp Christmas Tree were like $300-$400 for like a week,
Yeah.
and so
Damn,
it's like
that's
these were like
Overnight camp costs. Holy fuck.
maybe a little I don't know maybe a little less than that,
I mean,
but it's like
maintenance.
they rent the horses or they like get them from somewhere else, so it's like and I don't know, but it's like so these were like rich kids riding horses too.
Yes.
And some of these kids were like would come in like riding boots, and it's like you're at
When they
day
have their own
camp.
helmet, it's crazy.
Yeah, you're at day camp.
You're really into horses, huh?
Yeah,
But damn.
you're at day camp.
Well, I feel like that's a good.
Yeah. Anyway,
Well,
sorry.
no, you are all good. We're gonna take a quick pause. For y'all, it'll be just a second. For us, it'll be a couple of seconds. You won't even notice.
Ah!
What the fuck? Damn,
get
how'd that get there? We are back. Before we hop back into deep Allergen lore.
Okay.
There is another thing I would like. I don't know if
I
you
can read it.
my horrible handwriting.
Musical? Yeah.
What was this musical project you were working on a couple months back?
So I've been working on this for like 4 years.
Oh shit! Yeah, hell yeah. Passion project?
Kind of, yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. If there's anything to know about me is I commit to a passion project.
Dude, hell yeah.
Yeah, so I met someone, my friend Alex, my other friend Alex.
Not Al.
Not Al from Bugsy, different Alex Church. We met through the U, and then I got him a job at Sebastian Joe's.
Oh, hell yeah. Old days. Yup.
Sebastian Joe's. And we had talked about like, because he got like a build your own degree essentially, but part of it was in theater, and he does theater like now he's like the coordinator for like Eden Prairie Community Theater.
Oh, sick.
And he used to work at the Guthrie and like do a lot of cool, and he writes other stuff and
Tough.
Yeah. So he essentially, like, we had talked about the thing he was doing, and he said that he had like written all these songs, but he didn't know how to write like music, like instrumentals. And I was like, well, I'm happy to like take a look at anything that you have if you want. Like, I'm happy to like give input. And he was like, I wanted to ask you, but I didn't want to like assume. And I was like, oh yeah, like totally. So he sent me a song from the musical, and then I was like, all right. I sent him back a draft like a few days, like a very rough draft of like a song a few days later, and here we are. It's kind of like how it happened. And when we did the Bugsy podcast, I think it had just finished, but like not that long ago. But we essentially we got a grant to put on like a staged reading of the show in Minneapolis to get like feedback, because the show is on like a pretty like sensitive subject. And whilst there is a lot of like personal experience going into the topic, it is something that needs to be approached with like respect and a certain level of objectivity that humanizes people that are judged in a very real way. So just like trying to not like contribute to judgment, but more engage, like initiate a conversation was the goal, which is like whatever, that's super cheesy theater talk.
That's real. And I mean in like music too, like tough topics need to be taken into consideration, not just for the artist experience, but like for the consumer and how they're going to react. Right,
exactly. Especially because like I don't want to be pushing, and we've talked about this, like neither of us want to be pushing a specific narrative that is harmful towards like already like judged members of society, because the topic is about like addiction and about like being a support system of someone who's relapsed. And like the show goes to a lot of places, and I didn't write any of the script or anything, I just did the score. But like I think I was able it was just like, it's been like an interesting experience as someone who did like some theater, but not like was not like this is what I want to commit my life to type theater kid, you know? But like also wanting to like itch a different part of like my music brain that like takes things a lot more technically rather than like just kind of like boop ba doop ba doop, like figuring it out. It's more just like, okay, I need to make sure all of these things sound cohesive before I write them, rather than just like writing it as I go, if that makes sense. And just kind of like, but it's also like that also comes with a lot of imposter syndrome, because I didn't know what I was doing.
What's the difference in like writing for yourself versus writing for a narrative that someone else has constructed?
That's a good question. I think when I'm writing music like collaboratively, like in terms of like under other people's narratives, like in terms of like the musical, like I would try to find things to because essentially like I would have the lyrics from Alex, and then I would hear like a melody that he had written for it, and then I would like base something off of that essentially. And so if there were like specific like key lines or like key like that like kind of like progress the story, or like there's like a kind of like a theme in like the song or throughout the entire show, to kind of like find a musical like, I'm trying to think, twin or like a cousin I guess, like something that like it's like a theme that can match the themes of like the text and the themes of the prose, so that it's like, okay, this is indicative of this, but it also can be like a tool for foreshadowing and a tool for like all the other things, and I can kind of think about it in a more analytical but also like different creative process, because like when I write for like Allergen, it's like a dump rather than like a
part of a greater story that is like written through much more than just music.
Exactly.
Word.
So
speaking well, real quick, speaking on passion projects, if anyone wants to drop me like $30 million to make this movie, hit me up.
That's another after pod talk. I want to hear about that.
Word. But also on the topic of kind of using different parts of your musical brain on performance specifically, like live playing, between Allergen and Bugsy, not only do you play different instruments, but you're playing a different role in the band on stage and like in the audience's experience. What is that kind of, is there a separation that you feel, or is that more just like, well, this is what I do, I go up on stage?
I would say yes. I would say like both are true. I think like I mean, I don't know how to describe it. When I'm like playing bass, I'm just like, I'm a guy and I'm doing a thing and I'm you know, and
real,
it's like
real rhythm section shit is like,
I'm a guy and I'm playing with Al and Griffin, like, and I'm just like boop, like I feel like more of like silly. I think when I play with Allergen, I take myself, I'm a lot more serious.
Word.
But I also think like, you know, different people curate different environments, and like so in that sense I think something inherently creates a different environment because it's like different organizations of people and I'm the only common denominator. And I think also like, I'm trying to think about what I'm trying to say, but that being said, at the same time, like I am at the end of the day, like I'm doing a different role or like doing a different like instrument, and like I sing more in Allergen, but it's, at the end of the day, it's like kind of the same thing. I'm just like, I come on stage, I plug in my thing. I'm just the one saying, we're Allergen. Instead of Emily saying, we're Bugsy. But
a show's a show.
A show's a show. But I think I feel, I oftentimes feel more nervous for Allergen sets than I do for Bugsy sets. Word. Yeah, I would say that though.
Is it more difficult playing stuff that you wrote like the words to? Word. What's that kind of experience like, and has that like, I don't want to say anxiety towards it, but like, do you feel differently about like performing stuff you wrote compared to like 2019, 2020 versus in the good year 2024?
I think I'm definitely,
God damn, it's 2024.
It is 2024. I'm definitely more confident now. I think I'm like a stronger songwriter now, and I'm a stronger guitar player now. And I think I'm also just like a more confident person now, which has been really nice.
The early 20s shift is crazy.
The early 20s shift is crazy. Really crazy. Yeah, like being 18 and being like, hey, versus being like 23 and being like, everything. Hi.
Oh God.
And they were also just like, I'm gonna try to speak vaguely on this because I don't want to like say anything too much on the podcast. But essentially, someone in my life did not react well to me writing songs about them.
Word.
And releasing them, and it really affected my ability to write songs for a long time. And I think that like, and it made me really nervous to like write about things that other people might take as like a what the hell, like you slighted me type thing, when it's like, well, I'm writing about my feelings
Yeah.
to a situation, and like however you interpret those, and if you're mad at me for talking about my experiences, that's like 1 degree away from like reflection as to why I would be writing a song that you'd be upset that I released because it might refer to you poorly. It's like, what is your role in that? You know what I mean?
And art might be about something, but not for that thing.
Yeah, literally.
Or person in this case.
Literally. So I think that also like affected it, because I was just like, I don't want people to think that I'm talking about, like, I don't want my lyrics to be like interpreted and like dissected by people. And I'm sure I'm not the only person that feels that, and I'm not the only person that has that anxiety. But I think just like sometimes I like kind of detach myself from like the songs that I write and perform, because it's like it becomes like routine almost in a way of like, okay, like I've detached myself from the feelings I felt when I wrote this, especially like older songs that I play. But then sometimes I'll like really think about it, or like I'll be like recently, because we're recording, I've been like looking through our lyrics and like typing them all up and like making like layouts of songs for Abe and the newer songs for like Mia and Anna, and I'm like reading the lyrics and like interpreting them like as like a different person, and I'm like, damn, Shannon, like should you be talking about this? Like, and it's like, yeah, I should. Like, if it feels too much, I can change it, but I think it's also like, I wrote it for a reason. Yeah.
And like, how are you gonna make something but it not be like personal to you at all?
Right.
Like, even if they're, I don't know, I don't want to like go too off topic, but in episode 5, our friend Gora was talking about, that shit just died.
No.
All right, the camera has a mic. What's her? All right.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, you're all good. All right. When I said I have to change the batteries on it all the time, I really meant that shit. But one thing Gora was saying was like, talking about creating like a persona for his music, and like feeling like it was easier to like talk about certain things being Gora and not, I don't know if I'm like allowed to say his real name. Okay. But like, me too. I feel like that's super fair, because you are a person before an artist, as is every artist. Yeah. And if people are getting mad at you for making art, fuck all that. Right. Fuck out of here.
True. Thank you.
Dude, for sure. Well, that got crazy. Sorry to the viewer and to you.
It's okay. It's not your fault.
I do have another question.
Okay.
Do you have any allergies? This is like a dad joke of a question.
No, so this is funny. So are you familiar with, how familiar are you with like how an allergy is formed? And like,
not terribly. I'm a social science guy.
Okay. I mean, I am too.
I was a psych major.
I was a youth studies major.
Let's go.
I got a bachelor's of science, but like, what does that mean? Essentially, allergies, and like, okay, if anyone's watching this and they're like, that's incorrect, do not come for my throat.
This ain't the news.
This is not the news. Do not take this as truth. Do your own research. This is what I was told that influenced my band's name. Okay? Okay. That being said, I had a lot of really severe allergies as like a young child. Word. I went into anaphylactic shock twice.
Oh shit.
Before I was 5.
If this is like a sensitive topic.
No. And I was allergic to just like a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. And then it kind of like in a way like shaped my life for like a long time, because it was like I was a kid with allergies, so it's like, and it's like
you gotta sit at a different table.
Yeah. You can't like a lot of other stuff. My parents were like had like a really heightened sense of like anxiety about me getting sick, which is fair. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, and then as I got older, like my symptoms lessened, but like the anxiety was still there. Yeah. And then I got another allergy test like a few years, like in like early high school, I think. And it was like, they're gone. A lot of them are gone. Because essentially your body, as your body regenerates cells, as the cells change, the reactions change, is my understanding. Or like the immune system responses can change. And so therefore like old allergies can like go away with age. And sometimes it's like you don't even know you have an allergy like until you're exposed to it. Sometimes because it was like my fun fact, sad fact but fun fact. My grandfather like went into anaphylaxis, died, and was resuscitated from a medication that he had been taking for like 10 years.
Holy shit.
So his
that's a lot of things to happen.
Yeah, so he died and was revived from an allergic reaction to a medication that he had been taking. So it's like things just happen.
Yeah.
And then as I've gotten older, like I've thankfully I think I'm allergic to dogs now. And I've gotten stress hives, and like I get hives pretty consistently. I'm allergic to sunscreen over 30 SPF, and I'm allergic to dogs now.
Damn.
But neither of them are like severe.
Yeah. Over 30 SPF?
Yeah, it gives me a rash.
Like some ingredient that they need to put in to
I don't know. I don't know. It gives me a rash, so I don't use it.
Dude, shit.
And maybe it's just like my skin is sensitive. I don't even know. Yeah. But I'm taking it as an allergy because it's easier that way.
Yeah.
But then also
it's brand aware.
True. So I think in terms of like allergen, it's just like I could say there's like deep meaning behind it, but it's like I was thinking of band names and we were talking about how I had allergies, and I was like,
this is kind of tough.
Yeah.
This is kind of cool.
Yeah. So yeah.
Well, we can kind of wrap up. Is there anything that you would like to say about Allergen that we haven't discussed, or just like, real quick, you want to shout out the bandmates? I know you talked about both Anna and Mia a little bit, but
shout out Anna and Mia. Shout out Haze Gazer.
Woo-hoo. Huge
These
shout
are their
out
band.
Haze Gazer. Not to dox, but there is also another former Y camp employee in the scene.
Yes.
Crazy.
Oh, I know.
Wild.
Yeah, I was like, we talked about this?
Have we talked about this?
Maybe, am I allowed to say their name?
I don't know. We'll talk about it after. But yeah, any closing statements for episode 12 with Allergen?
Thanks for having me. Our Instagram is at ALLERG3N. And we have new music coming out this year.
Do y'all have any upcoming shows at the moment?
We're playing the Pillar Forum stage opening.
That's right over here.
Yeah, on March 3rd. And I think that's kind of it. I think we're playing because like we don't really have a ton of stuff going up besides because we're writing and recording. But we are playing the Pillar opening show, and I'm excited about that.
Hell yeah.
Well,
thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Sorry about the audio situation.
No problem.
I took a break to be like, I'm going to come back strong, and made a green screen, and then still have not mastered this device.
That's
but
okay.
It is what it is. Thank y'all so much for watching. Thank you again. Bye.
Bye.
Whoa, look who forgot to do the outro. It was me. I forgot to do the outro. I hope you found something interesting, informative, or insightful. Thanks for watching. Bye.
You are watching Ponder Media.